My name is Clarence Jones. I'm an accountant here in Montreal. Uh, from my roots, I was born in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and came to Canada to further my education. So, upon arrival in Canada, was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s. Early life was quite a challenge. I had some really unfortunate situations and so on in early life. But all of that being said, for example, when I was about, I would say, 9, 10 years old, I was like a complete cripple. I couldn't take a step at all. And for a year and a half, I missed school. And for that year and a half, every single day, my parents had to take me to the doctor for injections and so on. But my takeaway from all of that was the faith that my father showed because there was not a single day my dad did not pray for my healing. That's a very interesting part because I am one of 11 children from my father and mother, and God bless their soul. My mom and dad never had the type of education that I had. What I mean by that, my dad never went to school. My mom never got past elementary school. What they did not get in terms of an education, they made sure that every single one of the 11 children achieved that. So in my family, we have the accountant, we have the doctors, we have the scientists, we have the pastor, we have the nurses, you name it. My takeaway again from that is that they gave us everything that they did not get, and they prepared us for life. And God bless them. Well, for me, my family consisted of, like I said, my mom and dad, and then there were 10 other siblings besides myself, making 11 of us. And imagine housing 11 children in a three-bedroom house. However, we made do. My mom and dad, like I said, didn't have such a formal education. So my dad, by nature, was a farmer. He had lands, cultivated lands, and grew and sold. My mom had an entrepreneur spirit. So eventually she learned how to make candies. And that became one of the known, as a matter of fact, mainstay of the family in St. Vincent. Matter of fact, when I went home in 2023 for the funeral of my sister that passed away, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent spoke at the funeral and reminded the congregation about the Jones Sweetie factory. As a matter of fact, so everyone knew about the Jones Suite. That was one of the ways in which they helped to provide for the family in terms of financial assistance, etc. Fondest memory is when, in the evening, my dad would call all of us, and he would say, "It is time to let the lion loose." What did he mean by that? It was time for family devotion. There was hardly a single night that would pass, and my father would not call us to sit together as a family to sing songs and to read the Bible and to pray together as a family. That's one of my fondest memories, and that is going to stay with me forever. My journey to Canada, I wanted to further my education. In my before I left St. Vincent, I was a teacher. I graduated as a certified teacher at the St. Vincent Teachers College, and I was teaching at a junior secondary school, and quite successfully. I enjoyed the profession as a teacher. However, I felt that there was more, and my older brother had done some courses with me in accounting, and I kind of liked the idea. Anyway, I decided that after doing some investigation, looking around and so on, I decided to come to Canada. I came to Montreal and enrolled in the Concordia University, and that's where I did my accounting studies. My main passion is helping people, especially Black and ethnic people. Why? Because I believe that we are more than just houseworkers, babysitters, nannies, cooks, cleaning, factory workers. I believe that there is a lot of ability, especially even in our young Black people today, both male and female, but I just feel it is rather sidetracked by unnecessaries. I do not lose an opportunity when young Black men or Black women come to my office and sit to do taxes. I would take that opportunity to encourage them to aspire towards a higher and a better life. I don't you lose that opportunity because that's my passion. a typical a typical day in my life is one where I tell you, Reed, I cannot start my day without a strong, hot cup of coffee. It will not go well. Matter of fact, I go to my office. If I don't have my coffee, my staff know right away. Oh, you didn't have your coffee yet, did you? And that is how my day starts. The coffee is a must. And basically, after that, it's been there in my office, and the thing is, I see all type of clients from all different backgrounds, ethnicities, and stuff like that. But my goal is always one thing: to drive everyone, or push everyone, or to guide everyone towards success. But knowing the oppression and the difficulties of our own Black people, I have an extra passion in that direction. So my proudest moments is when I see, for example, I'll give you one example. There was this young lady, a Black young lady, and she was into hairdressing and stuff like that. And I saw the ability. Anyway, I worked with this young lady. I guided her with the help of her parents, and now they look at me like family. But I was able to guide this lady from just doing what you call it, those things, the weaving and all of that stuff, now to a full blown business where she is so very successful. She's just moving from one height to the other. I have also been able to assist Black people towards, well, not just Black, I mean, other people towards acquiring homes, getting mortgage, securing mortgages, building their business to a great success. What are my values? All Most of my values stem from my early upbringing with my parents. Hmm? And in terms of values, it starts with respect. So for me, whether you are a client whose business is making $1 million, or you're a client who is struggling and can hardly pay the bills, I award the same level of respect. And like I said, it came from my earlier bringing. Hmm? Second thing is when it comes to value, always, always, I try to keep a positive spin on every situation. No matter how difficult it may seem, there's always a solution. Hmm? And in terms of value, I also believe in integrity, like and self-esteem, self-worth, because a person with low esteem is a person who will achieve very little. It starts with you. No matter what you're going through, if you have good self-esteem, worthy self-esteem, and you set your goals, it may be difficult getting there, but you will get there. I'm going to explain it this way. Hmm? I believe that the explosion of social media, electronics, and stuff like that has taken away a lot of our family values. And let me explain. You sit around the table with whether it be family or friends for lunch and a dinner, and everyone is like this in their cell phone. There's hardly any person to person dialogue. It is like these things have literally taken away our ability to socialize with one another, to dialogue with one another, to share ideas with each other. We need to get back to being a community, not just a bunch of people. That's a good question, Marie. That's a good question because I've had many, what it be, couples, single moms, or even fathers sit and share with me what they're going through today. It's not the same as before. First of all, and I threw this question to a lawyer. The system now in Canada is geared towards the woman, and God bless them and mothers. But let me explain to you what I mean. If there is an argument amongst mother and father, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, they have kids, two person living together, and the lady called the cops and say there's a problem. Before asking question, that guy gets arrested immediately. I've had examples of that coming straight to my office. And once the arrest is done, then the explanation starts as to whether or not what is guilty, etc., etc. And so, what I say, all black men, we need to stand up to our responsibilities, irregardless to what. I do not believe in any type of abuse towards male or female, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse. No. Like my brother says to me, I have a brother in Jamaica, and he says, if something is not working, walk away from it. Our kids today need mothers and fathers with integrity, with a sense of purpose, with a sense of value towards family and community to help and mold them. Look at the direction of the world. What's the future for our youths growing up today in school? What type of future are we helping them into? We need to think about those things and think about how is the best way we can prepare them to be the men and women of tomorrow by the way we live with them today. We must get back to that family value situation where young men, young women will live together with some type of a purpose and integrity and be an example to the children that we are bringing up today. There's a twofold impact, and it all depends on what type of removal there is, and I'll explain very quickly. Unfortunately, some mothers prefer to have that single family value. Why? Because if you are, and I have to say this, although I don't like it, but it's a fact. If you are a single mother with 3 or 4 kids living at home and you have an income of less than $30,000, the government is going to give you, between the federal and provincial government, you should be getting child benefits, non taxable, of about $50,000 per year. That is not even considered as income. And a lot of single parents sort of gravitate towards that because money talks. Whereas, here's the kickback now. If you have two parents, hardworking, and each making income, say, over 60, 70,000, that's a combined family income of more than 140,000. Hmm? There's very little incentive that the government gives, because the more money you make is the less you get in terms of child benefits and so on. And a family like that with 3, 4 kids, they see very little. Do you see the comparison that I'm trying to make here? Now imagine there's a split, hmm? And one parent leaves. Still, this single parent earning 80, 90,000 will still see a drop in the family benefit, even though this person is a single parent. And I've had that situation come to my office where these mothers are literally crying, because when you have a salary of 80, 90,000, 100,000, your tax bracket is way up there. So you make that money, and what you get as a take home pay is almost the same as a person making 60,000 because of the tax bracket. So where's the money? And they've got this situation to deal with while trying to cater towards the children in the home. That's a challenge. First of all, I make it plain. If you're in a relationship where that other person is not making your life better, think hard. If over a period of time you're not seeing any improvement towards your life, whether it be economically, socially, you name it, think twice. Because I am the one of those persons that believe that yes, together with the right partner, you can achieve much. They say behind every successful man is a good woman. Now, there is also the situation where you're in it already and it's not working. What do you do? Especially if there's ring on that finger. And God say, once you're married, till death do us part. And there comes a challenge. And I, for one, believe that both parties must seek the right counsel. But of course, you cannot force a person to counsel who don't want. You cannot force anybody to love you. I said love is reciprocal. If you not, I said, and I always believe you must treat a person the way you want to be treated. I said, always remember that. Do not, I said, don't take the pathway of the gutter. I'll tell you straight up right now, sir, and this may offend some people, but there are some people that in a relationship, for what they can get out of it, not what they can put out of it. Not what they can put into it, but rather what they can get out of it. Hmm? They see a guy who seems to be doing well, maybe have a few bucks saved. Ah, that's a guy must hit on to. And because they're thinking what I can get, huh? That's red flag. I've always maintained one thing. I don't want anyone to love me for what I got. No, love me for who I am. That's my principle. This is what I believe in. And also believe in a progressive mind. Because if you're with someone who is just downright lazy, don't want to get up and go and find work to help out family matters and family finances and so on. For me, no, that's a no. I've seen all of these things, bro. I'm talking from experience. These things have come to me. Laziness is no good. It's not good at all. It creates frustration in the relationship because one person feels that they're the only ones pulling the weight while the other one is sitting down with the phone in their hand and maybe on some social media platform texting and so on. And this guy is busting his butt to try to make ends meet. That lazy mentality, we need to get rid of that. Marrying young or old, it's very difficult for me to say you should do it young or old because it all depends on the strength of the relationship and the way that the two persons, the way that they coordinate, respect, love, and support each other. In that, the trust factor is very important because when there is no trust in a relationship, it gets fragile. If I were to advise, first thing that I would advise, especially if a young couple came to me and were to ask me about this whole situation, I would advise them to make sure that they achieve some level of financial stability because money break a lot of marriages. Well, a lot of what I've said, hmm, I've also experienced myself, and the whole aging process, it has really been a life lesson for me also because when I came to Montreal, and I told you earlier, I went to Concordia University, but of course, I had responsibilities, so I was working while going to school, and that was quite a challenge. However, I used to work with a company in old Montreal, and in the meantime, I had clients I was seeing on a part-time basis, and trying to build up a clientele. But Reed, the company closed down, and I decided it's time for me to start my own accounting practice. That was one hell of a challenge.